sometimes your memories of what happened in the past can start to fade and be replaced by, I don't want to say false memories, but memories of that timeline that you've crossed over into. So say you never remembered your grandmother's house burning down or something, but you cross over into this new universe, and there's a history there of, yeah, grandma's house burned down, and everybody swears up and down that it did, and then you're starting to think, well, wait a minute, I kind of remember something like that, but yet you know it never really did happen where you were. And so sometimes you find yourself fighting to hang on to what you know to be the true fact of what really happened. Well, for you anyways, I guess the truth for them is another history.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, how do you come back from that? Is it possible to just get stuck there?
Well, people report, being away and like gone to these different places for extended periods of time. And that's been my experience too. Sometimes it can happen for just, a few minutes or hours, and sometimes it can happen for days, weeks, or months, or a couple of years even. So the only way that you really can change, as far as I, have discovered, is, I use a lot of energy healing, and by changing your energy vibration has to match whatever universe you're in. And so if your energy vibration changes, if it increases or decreases, you may possibly end up in another place where your energy vibration that you changed, now matches. And so that's one way. But you never really know where you're going to end up unless you really focus your intention on getting there. But it can be kind of tricky, and so I don't try to intentionally go to a specific place, really.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you. I have to ask you this. I know that you're going to think I'm not being serious, but I just can't help myself. Is this why there are so many Elvis sightings?
You know what?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I have to know now.
Yeah, some of it could be like, what was mentioned earlier on the show. Some people, their reports, you wonder if you can believe them or not. Whether they're accurate or not. And then in some cases, you never know. Maybe it's another case of that dead and alive again scenario taking place. You never know.
Right. Well, you were saying about the stars, and the first thing that pops into my mind is this is why people are saying they saw Elvis.
You never know. There are so many reports of celebrities being dead and then alive again, and I've had my own experiences with that as well.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting to me what you're saying about vibration, because many of us who have a higher, intuitive ability vibrate at a higher level than other people anyway. We don't get sick as often. Clearly people that vibrate at a lower level all the time have a tendency to be more sickly individuals. Do you think that, or through your research, is really what I should ask, do you find people that this happens to, do they more frequently vibrate at a higher level or a lower level? And do you want to explain to our listeners, who probably a lot of them don't understand or have any idea what I'm talking about when I talk about how we vibrate and at what level?
Well, we know how you vibrate, Joni. You vibrate with special tools.
I kind of thought this was going to go in the gutter.
We weren't talking about me. We're talking about Trish. More on that topic later.
Yeah, everything in existence is energy, and even Albert Einstein stated that there's nothing in existence that isn't just simply energy, and energy vibrates at its own unique speed or velocity, and the way I can explain it is if you have water, it's a liquid, and if you freeze it, it becomes ice, and those molecules in the ice aren't vibrating as quickly as what they are in the water. And if you heat the water up and get water vapor, the molecules would be vibrating more quickly in the water vapor. And so everything is energy, and it vibrates at a certain speed, known as its energy vibration. And we ourselves also have our own energy vibration and that we vibrate at. And I think, a lot of times these types of phenomena can tend to happen to people that start to awaken to it, spiritually, and people also people that tend to be, like you said, awakening, and so their energy vibration is rising, and maybe at a higher level, than the people that maybe more asleep or not aware of it. And sometimes it can happen to people that don't necessarily, vibrate very high. And I tend to think that a lot of times it does, because if there's somebody out there that's very skeptical and critical and condescending about the work that you're doing, more than likely eventually they will end up experiencing a similar situation or the same situation. It's kind of almost like karmic in a sense, So in those scenarios, someone that's vibrating lower might actually experience it. But usually these type of experiences, I think, nowadays are tending more to happen to people that are more awakened spiritually and are vibrating at a different level.
Yeah.
So what level do you vibrate at?
Agree.
Pardon?
Trish, what level do you vibrate at? You're vibrating at a higher level, I would assume.
I'm not really sure, but
Jason, be nice.
Hard, yeah.
I always try to be nice.
Some days I tend to wonder.
Well, as long as you're not tuned up way too high, that fucking thing will zap you like you wouldn't believe.
With the meditation and the spiritual exploration that you're doing, I would think that most of the time you would.
It's well worth it in the end, right? It's well worth it in the end. That's all what counts.
How do you?
All right.
I mean, how do you think we would find out what our energy vibration is, Trish? Is there something you would recommend for sort of a measurement, if you will, of your energy vibration?
Sure. Actually, it's interesting that you asked, because I include in my book meditations for past lives and starseed soulmates and beyond. There's actually a meditation in there that's included that allows you to see what level your soul is at and what evolutionary level it's at. And what the theory is behind it is that our souls actually, when you look at them, actually display certain colors. Your soul will be a certain color, and then you have a color in your center, and the colors are like the colors on the color spectrum. And so red, is down at the, beginner level, and then it goes all the way up into the purples, like on the color spectrum. Purple vibrates at a higher energy level than red, which is on the other end of it. And then there are even levels that go beyond the human realm, beyond the purples, that the masters and the teachers and everything, like Jesus and those types of people, would vibrate at as well. So it's very interesting. You can actually see what level you're at, and that pretty much would tell you, what level you're at with your soul growth.
Couldn't you just check your body heat? How much body heat you're letting off? I mean, heat is connected to energy. Energy is obviously, if you're focused on a more higher energy or more vibration level, you're going to let off more body heat.
Sure. True. That's a true point about the body heat. It is, and because I've found out, even with going to these parallel universes, that in some of the universes, it's interesting. I mention it in my book that I was feeling sick and like I had a fever one day, and I was at the hospital, and I'm burning up. My temperature's like 99 degrees, and they told me, you don't have a fever. Well, according to the whole, my entire life, whenever you reach 99 degrees, you're at a low-grade fever, but according to them, you don't have a fever till you're at least at 102 degrees, and I'm thinking, what? But what I found out by going inside intuitively to see why, there was such a discrepancy, me feeling like I'm frying at 99 degrees, and I was told that, when I go to these parallel universes that are at a lower energy vibration, the people there, their energy vibration has to match the universe that they're in. And when you're at a lower energy vibration, your body is more dense and it will burn. Like you guys mentioned, the body temperature will be higher just naturally. So it makes sense then that if people's level of soul growth is, at the beginner level, their body heat may be higher than somebody who is, way off at the other end of the scale, who's an older, more evolved soul. They might be running at a lower temperature.
Mhm. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
We're talking science, Jody, not body heat in general.
I wanted to ask Chris too. To me, this is very comparative as well to reading auras. It's comparative to that color chart. I mean, wouldn't you say so?
It is very similar because I've had my aura reading done before.
Yeah.
Way back. It was about 10 years ago, and it was very similar. The colors that they, pointed out and everything. So it is very similar.
Yeah. It sounds like it. The soul colors and the aura colors seem pretty very similar to me. So I just thought it was an interesting parallel to draw. Yeah.
Excellent. Now going into dimensions again, alternative dimensions. Do you think that the veil to these other dimensions are thin enough to the point where while people are out investigating, looking for paranormal phenomena, that for that split second that they wind up connecting, and maybe that's what kind of evidence they're collecting, not too much of past, people who have died?
I think that can definitely take place. I think the veil is thinning a lot, now with more and more people, and I definitely believe that, that can definitely happen, especially when you're out there actually looking for it, doing ghost hunts and everything, that, if the veil's thinning in somebody, I mean, they could actually, see into different dimensions and on the ghost plane and everything else, and, seeing things that maybe the average person isn't going to see.
Yeah. It would kind of correlate, I guess. I guess it is very much well possible that, rather than, I guess, researching dead people, that maybe what we're picking up on are different dimensions or parallel universes, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely possible, too, because, I mean, I've seen, one of the characteristics of the parallel universes phenomenon is, people and animals and objects, appearing from out of nowhere and disappearing into thin air, and, sometimes leaves me scratching my head wondering, well, did I just see a ghost, or is it just a case of, me temporarily crossing over somewhere? So it's definitely, you could definitely temporarily cross over or pick up on some other dimension.
It brings up actually another weird topic too. Going out there, I was just having an interview a couple nights ago on another radio show, and he asked me, this is the question, he asked me, is it possible that maybe we are the ones that's dead and the ghosts are the one that's living? And I thought to myself, just by this topic just now, and I was like, well, maybe it all depends if that veil has been lifted enough. Maybe these alternative dimensions, what they're seeing to us as a ghost and what we're seeing to them as a ghost. So maybe it can work on vice versa.
Who knows? I mean, who are we to say?
It's a good thought, I guess.
It's interesting, Jason. That's a very interesting thought.
It is.
Because to me,
I think
even
talking
Trish
about
said,